Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. Thank you to Justin Langer for joining us as well. As always, if you could please make sure your cameras and your audio is off unless you are asked to invited to ask a question, and then you can turn your microphone back on again. I will just let a few more in. So if you have a question, please type now in the chat box, and we can get the conference underway. Okay, we'll get started with Adam Burnett.
G'day, Justin. How are you?
Wait, come here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, that's it.
Hear me?
Yeah, got it.
Good. Thanks, mate. Just wondering about Marnus, mate, the century overnight. Does that put him, and I guess his other performances in other formats, does that push him into your first choice T2011? And if not, I suppose there's going to be very few opportunities for him to play Big Bash. So how do you sort of get a gauge on whether you do want him in that T20 middle order?
Oh, first thing I'll say, his innings yesterday, like with Alex Carey, like with Marcus Stoinis, like with Glenn Maxwell a couple of days before, absolutely sublime. It was brilliant to watch, actually. It was what a young player is. We know who could have ever guessed his acceleration in improvement. That's what we love to see. We've had a pretty settled T20 side over the last 12 months or so. And all we can ask for is that guys bang so hard, they're putting pressure on the guys in there. So whether Marnus plays this series or not, or certainly the first game on Friday night, time will tell. We haven't decided that yet. But he's certainly done, like he's done since he came into international cricket, everything he possibly could. It was classic to watch. He was hitting Pat Cummins, world's best over point for 6, and his partnership with Alex Carey was just so much fun to watch. It was great. Great young Australian players going hard against very good opposition. So it was great practice.
Thanks, mate. I just got one more quickly. It's on the ODIs. Do you think they're sort of lower than maybe expected scores at last year's World Cup? Vindicated your one-day batting plan a little bit, and looking ahead to 2023, does that plan change or does it stay the same?
Well, I'm sure if you look at what happened in the World Cup here last year, and I've said this to you guys, so it's not going to surprise you, but Usman Khawaja did his hamstring, and I think we were on top of the table before that game against the last game against South Africa. We're playing brilliant one-day cricket. Uzi did his hamstring, couldn't bat, and Sean Marsh, who is, I guess, next in line to bat in that number 3 position, he broke his arm the day before. So, but we've worked really hard on over this COVID period on how we can improve our one-day cricket. We're going to make a few little changes to how we're going to select teams, and hopefully that'll get us some good outcomes, not just in the short term, but leading up to the World Cup in 3 years' time. But we're really clear on how we want to pick our test team. We're really clear on our T20 makeup, and we probably haven't been as clear. We were in the World Cup, but we haven't been as for the last probably 3 or 4 years, I think. So hopefully we're getting more settled on that, and we'll get the results, or the results will show that.
Thanks, mate.
Andrew McGlashan.
Thanks, Cole. Hi, Justin. Did you get everything you'd hoped for out of the practice games over the last few days?
Oh, it's been unbelievable. We're so thankful to the ECB and to everyone who did the work back at home for us to be over here in England. The few days we had in Derbyshire were just seamless. The flight was seamless. The couple of days in Derbyshire. Now we've played, besides the rain on the first day of practice, where we only got 25 overs in. But as it actually turned out, that's not, the guys hadn't played for 4 months, so it's worked out brilliantly. We had the 25 overs, then we had a one-day game a couple of days ago, 2 20-20 games. It's still not perfect preparation in terms of match hardness, because we haven't played for a long time. But in what we've had on offer, we couldn't have had a better preparation. So we're thankful for that. We're thankful for everyone. It's been incredible here at Hampshire. The wickets were brilliant. The weather's nice here now. So now it's going to be good to start playing some cricket on Friday night.
Just a little bit more on the T20 side. Is there one element that particularly pleased you over that run of games you've been able to put together that has really clicked for you?
Well, what pleased me most is we know what the formula works. I mean, I've known that as a head coach for some time. We trusted it, we stuck to it, and it's going. You know, the boys have played really well. I think the partnership between Ashton Agar and Zamps has been great. I think the top order's been excellent. I think we've had a nice settled team and squad. So, and ultimately that's what success is about, isn't it? Just getting the combinations right, getting the team right, getting the style of play or the setup of the team right. So I think we're on the right path in T20 cricket, and we've got 2 World Cups coming up in the next couple of years. So we've just got to keep getting better and better and polishing up those lineups.
Thanks, Justin.
Pleasure.
Lockie McCurdy.
Hey, Justin. Just wanted to touch on Marcus Stoinis. Obviously, he's been in great form in these couple of warm-up games. What do you see as his best batting position in T20 cricket? Obviously, he's been opening the batting, opened a bit in the BBL, but you've got sort of Finchy and Warner there at the top of the order. Do you see him potentially displacing one of them, or do you still see him as coming in the middle order somewhere?
Well, he certainly won't displace them at the moment. They're the best opening combination in the world, I would say, in T20 and one-day cricket. So, but my personal opinion, and Marcus knows this, is and we saw that through the Big Bash the last couple of years. I saw him as a kid. He was always an opener as a kid coming up through club cricket. He played really good cricket batting at number 3 for Victoria a few years ago, and I think he's an outstanding top order player. Gives him a bit more time. He's got incredible power. He gets away against the fast bowlers. So, in my opinion, I think he's best up the top of the order. We also know he's an adaptable player, so he's an all-rounder. He could play in anywhere, but my view is in the top order. Where that opportunity comes, time will tell. Because when you've got the Steve Smith, the world's best batsman, and you've got the best opening combination, it means it's hard to break into that. But that's good. That's great for us. I mean, we've based our success in Australian cricket on hardcore competition for places. And I get the sense we're starting to build into that. So, and that's a positive, not a negative. So where Marcus's next opportunity comes, time will tell. But he's doing everything possible at the moment in the way he's playing, his attitude around the group, everything possible to be knocking hard on the door for selection.
And just quickly, another promising performance was obviously Alex Carey's century overnight. The decision was made to sort of go to that one single vice captain role on Pat Cummins. But how have you noticed Alex sort of take that decision and be around the squad since that?
As I expected, he is an outstanding human being. I mean, he's got incredible character, and as I expected, I mean, we were very, very clear and open in our communications with him about the reasons we went down that path. He's still in our leadership group. He's a terrific person. He's a very, very good leader, and he's a very, very good cricketer. So he's got a smile on his face. He's as fit as ever. He played brilliantly yesterday. He's wicket keeping well. So he's doing as expected. Like we have talked about always, we want leadership. There's only a couple of guys can have a title. We want all our leaders without title are the ones we're looking for in the team. We're seeing it with David Warner. We're seeing it with Alex Carey. We're seeing it with Steve Smith. And we're seeing it with all our players. That's what we're trying to build with our leadership group.
Thanks, Justin.
Pleasure, thanks.
Chris Barrett.
G'day, Justin. Can I just ask you about what's going on back here quickly? Are you concerned at all about the run-in between Channel 7 and Cricket Australia over the rights to this summer? And have you been given an indication how much bigger your international squads will be in the summer than usual? Because the major concern that 7 are talking about is players being absent from the Big Bash League. So I just wondered if you've been given an indication in terms of size there, as well as your overall thoughts about this issue.
Well, I guess an indication is that we brought 21 men over here for this tour. A lot of it has to do because of the biosecurity. Some of that had to do with we needed to get some match practice in, as we've shown over the last few days. I would imagine the squads will be a little bigger than they've been. Usually we have 14 players, and then we let a few guys with the restrictions in, the border restrictions. That's not going to be as easy. So we haven't settled on a number yet, but we'll keep working through that. We've known the Big Bash has been an incredible success over a long time, and often the best international players don't play because they're playing for Australia. So that probably won't be much different this year than it's been. In terms of the reports we get back, look, I'm a pretty simple man, but I just like win-win. I like win-win. I like people, whether it's the Cricket Australia and the ACA, whether it's the Cricket Australia and our partners, the broadcasters. It'll be no surprise to anyone that partnerships to me are everything. I think my opening partnership, or my partnership with my family, or my partnerships with my players, or my partnerships with my friends, partnerships. I'm a very loyal person, and partnerships, it's a great word. There's a lot of power in partnerships, and I like to think with partnerships, you have honest conversations, you sit down together, and you get win-win situations. So in this case, I hope I'm sure it will be, and I hope it's the case with everything we're doing in Australian cricket at the moment, because for the health of the game, to put smiles on the faces of people who love cricket, we're looking for win-win situations, right? And certainly a very strong philosophy I've always had, and I'm sure we'll have that within Australian cricket and with our other partners.
Julian Geyer.
Hello, Justin. I guess you would have watched the England-Pakistan T20s. I just wondered what you made of England in the format coming up to your series with them.
Dangerous. That's what I made of England. They're dangerous, aren't they? I mean, I watched the way Eoin Morgan plays. Whoa, it's exciting to watch. He just comes out and smacks it from ball one. They've got some good young players. We've seen the squad. They've obviously got bringing some of their more experienced players back into the team. We know they've been the best one-day team in the world for a few years now. So I'd say they're dangerous, and we're coming here. We know what to expect. We came here 2 years ago. We got smashed 5-0. We came here last year. We won 2 out of the 3 games. We just didn't win the big one against in the semi-final. But we know England are dangerous. They're a very, very, very good team, very good white ball, a very good cricket team. They're well led. So yeah, we know what to expect, and we'll be ready for it.
And can I just ask, you just talked about the importance of partnerships. Last night we had a partnership between a 39-year-old and a 19-year-old for Pakistan. Were you ever involved in a kind of age gap partnership like that? And what did you make of young Hyder Ali?
Oh, he's a fantastic. I mean, Pakistan, as we've always known, they're like a sleeping giant. They've got so much talent. It's like India. They've got so much talent. It's exciting to watch. I think my experience of that was Sean Marsh. I've known him since he was a little boy, literally since he was born. Jeff Marsh and Michelle, they're great friends of mine. Jeff was my first captain, and I was there when he was born. Not actually there when he was born, obviously, but I knew when he was born, and we played together when he was about 18 or 17 or 18 or something for Western Australia. So I understand that experience of the Pakistanis last night. It's great, and it's great to see these young kids come in and hit a 6 off your second ball in international cricket. Exciting to watch.
Thank you very much.
Rob Forsyth.
Hey, Justin. I appreciate it's only been a week in the bubble, but has there been any sort of major surprises? And in similar themes, have you talked to any of the locals about how best to attack your home summer in terms of sort of guarding against burnout when your players are in this sort of setup for months on end?
It's going to be challenging, no doubt about that, and we see it with we've seen it with some of the other codes, haven't we? With the AFL, I talk to the guys in the AFL a lot. I've spoken to a few of the guys from afar. I spoke to Michael Vaughan a month or so ago about living in bubbles. It's going to be challenging, no doubt about that. It's certainly the freedoms that we're used to. That all said, we've been looked after incredibly well. The ECB have done an incredible job to make sure that we've been accommodated. The hospitality's been unbelievable. To be on the ground, to be in the hotel room, overlooking the ground, or being here has made life a lot easier. We're also lucky because we've got a big group here. We've got 21 players, and our support, that there's a lot of connectivity between. I think one thing that we have to be aware of is we've got to stay connected to each other. And you're right, it's only been a week or so far, but the spirit in our camp is brilliant, as it always is, but it's brilliant. But we have to be eyes wide open with mental health, with the physical health of our players and our support staff, that we've got eyes wide open, that we're going to keep a close view that everyone's going okay, because it's going to be a long, tough summer, no doubt about that.
Cheers.
Adam Collins.
G'day, Justin. You referred before to the tour here a couple of years ago, that bilateral series, which of course, we all saw in the documentary during lockdown. Thinking about that depth you referred to before, batting depth and leadership and so on, can you expand a bit on that, I suppose, and where you see the gains have been mostly made in this team while you've been the coach?
Well, when we come here 2 years ago, obviously we were at crisis, but we were copying it from everywhere, and rightly so. The team had made a terrible error in judgment in South Africa, and individually, collectively, we all paid the price for that. We came here with a very young team. A lot of our senior players, a little bit like England are doing at the moment, because of the circumstance. We come here with a young team. My gosh, I put hair on their chest though, to come to England, our young players, to lose 5-0. Probably that last one more little punch from Mother Cricket saying, you guys have made a mistake. We'll make sure you guys remember it. But I think where we've come in 2 years, hopefully, I've talked about over and over. We had to earn respect back internationally. We had to make Australians back home proud of us. Hopefully, we've done that on and off the cricket field. We're currently ranked #1 in Test and T20, so we're doing a good job on the field. But I think the sentiment back home, and hopefully we saw it a bit. One of the highlights of my coaching career was when Steve Smith walked off the ground in the last Test last year and got a standing ovation. He only got 20 odd runs or whatever he got, but got a standing ovation. And from the hostilities that we received when we first arrived in England to seeing that moment, hopefully we've started to earn respect back, not just individually, but as a group. So I think we've come a long way. We've still got really exciting times ahead of us and some challenging times ahead of us, but hopefully we're moving in the right direction.
Thanks, Justin.
Andrew Wood.
Yeah, g'day, Justin. You spoke before about the need for win-win partnerships, talking about the situation with Seven and Cricket Australia. I mean, what's your idea of a win-win partnership in this situation? I mean, would you settle for a smaller squad size come summer, so that I suppose your higher profile and players can play in the BBL, even if it might, I suppose, impede what you're trying to do with the national team to an extent?
Well, the first thing is that we are always encouraging our players to be back playing BBL cricket or Sheffield Shield cricket, because the best way to improve is to play cricket games. So it'd be crazy to think that is not #1 in our minds in the Australian cricket team for high performance, because we want our guys playing cricket. We want our guys playing competitive cricket as much as possible. Reality is, though, in this once in 100-year pandemic, that's what they're calling it, there has to be some little changes, because you can't, with the borders as we currently see it, you can't just bring people in and out. We know that. I mean, that's just the restrictions. So we will work under the guidelines with the #1 absolute that we want our guys playing as much Big Bash cricket, as much Sheffield Shield cricket as they possibly can, because that's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for our team. It's a win-win for our players. It's a win-win for the broadcast. Win-win. But we also know in this period, there's going to be some biosecurity restrictions that we have to abide by, and we'll work that. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, we're all on the same page. We'll listen to the advice from the medicos. We'll listen to the advice from the government. But be assured to the broadcasters or the fans, be absolutely assured we want our best players playing as much cricket on the TVs as possible, because that is a win-win for everybody.
Will the broadcasters have any say on how you pick your teams in?
Well, I think the biggest people will have a say in the current climate are the medicos. That's what I think, because if you've got to have, you know, if there is going to be those restrictions, then that's the world we're currently living in.
Thanks, Justin.
We'll go to Nick Holt. I think Nick's the last I can see in the chat box here. So Nick, if you have a question for JL, and then we'll wrap it up.
Hi, Justin. I just wondered, you touched upon the pressures of the bio bubble. Do you think you'll have to change your approach as a coach in any way over the next few months, given the sort of high intensity atmosphere of top level cricket?
Not really. I think, number one, I've always said I judge my, at the end of my coaching career, I'll judge my success by how many invitations I get to weddings and christenings, not by how many trophies we win. And what I mean by that is, you know, I want people to, my players to know how much we care about them, and we will continue to care about our players. That's one of the most important things about leadership is caring for people. And you know, you can be the tough guy as much as you want, but ultimately you've got to care for your people. That philosophy of me has not changed since the day I started coaching, and it won't change until the day I finish coaching. So it might be heightened a little bit, keeping an eye out for our players, but no more than ever.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin, and thanks, guys, for joining us today. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you in the coming days, but we'll wrap it up there. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Thank you.